Hi guys, Ash from Tech Talk. So today we're going to do a bit of a revisit to the very old Huawei P20 Pro. So when the Huawei P20 Pro was first released back in March of 2018, it made a huge splash into the multi-camera game, being the first smartphone to boast a triple lens setup. It set the trend for almost all future smartphones. But now, 3 years later, how has it aged? Is it still a worthy smartphone in 2021? So stick around to find out as we explore the Huawei P20 Pro 3 years later. This is kind of a fake unboxing, obviously. I've had this phone for around 2 years on its contract, so obviously it's been used, but this is how it looks out of the box. So there we are, you have the phone on the top, the lovely Twilight model, so we'll just pop that to the side a second, and then under here you've got your pouch with your case and your instructions as well. SIM ejector tool, God knows where that's gone, I've lost it somewhere, but that would be in there as well. So in here you have your 22.5 watt super fast charging, a USB-C cable and your USB-C headphones. So obviously that was completely fake as it's a very old phone, but there we go, thought I'd just do it anyway. So here is the Huawei P20 Pro. So back in mid 2017 Huawei unveiled the new Kirin 970 processor, which was boasting all sorts of impressive performance and AI smarts. It was a new 10nm chip that would power the Mate 10 series and then the P20 series in March of 2018. For the P20 Pro, this was the smartphone industry's first look at a triple camera setup and what it was capable of. This new setup on the P20 Pro would consist of an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, a 20 megapixel monochrome lens, and then a ginormous 40 megapixel main camera with a massive 1/1.7 inch image sensor, the largest in any smartphone at the time. This new camera would be among the first phones to introduce 4-in-1 pixel binning, producing really good 10 megapixel shots, which would land the P20 Pro at the top of DxOMark's smartphone camera charts. We would also be introduced to night mode, which would allow users to take long exposure shots handheld with no camera shake, so the images would still come out very, very clear. Of course now all of these specs are the norm on most smartphones, even including budget handsets costing less than 200 quid. So the question is, how does it hold up in 2021? Well, surprisingly well for me. The phone's aged very well. When I got my unit, the phone was already a year old. I've kept it in a case since I got it and it's still in pristine condition. As you can see on the bottom, there's no marks on the sides or on the top. The naff looking screen is literally just the screen protector, which is still the pre-applied one that I had as it came out of the box, so hardly surprising that after 3 years of use it does look a bit rubbish, but there we go. The 4000 milliamp hour battery inside, obviously nowadays it seems quite small in a world of 5000 milliamp hour plus batteries, but yeah, it was considered a very large battery when it released, and it's still decent. It still lasts a full day, and the 22.5 watt supercharger, again, that's not as high as the 50 or 65 watt charging speeds these days. It's still quick enough to get the top the phone up if you're in a rush. My day-to-day use on phones is never really that intense. The daily use is still good, although I have noticed more and more stutters when opening apps, when I can sort of just put that down to the age of the Kirin 970. As for the benchmarks, if I can find, where's the Geekbench? There we go. So yeah, the benchmarks there, 354 on the single core and then 1375 on the multi-core, which are starting to fall behind newer mid-range processors such as the 730G inside my Moto G9 Plus, which scores 549 on the single core and 1724 on the multi-core. EMUI, well, is EMUI. There's not really much to report on that. It's running EMUI version 10 based on Android 10. I'll be surprised if it receives any more updates, especially to Android 11, but only time will tell. I'm not really sure if it's on Huawei's roadmap to get the Android 11 update, but we'll see. The fingerprint scanner on the front is still as snappy now as it was on the day I unboxed it, so zero complaints from me there. Briefly onto the camera, it wasn't crowned DxOMark's camera champion for nothing, although outperformed now by a plethora of flagships. The Huawei P20 Pro still takes great photos with good detail. The AI mode is still a bit strong for my liking, oversaturating the colours to unrealistic levels in my opinion, compared to many other phones, so I tend to leave that off whenever I was using it. I'll leave some photo samples at the end of the video as well, for you to have a look, and there's one particular photo that I'm putting on there that I left the AI mode on, so we can see if you can work out which one it is. The zoom camera performs really well, and the 5x hybrid zoom camera, which combines optical and digital zoom, still produces respectable photos, and again I'll pop one of those videos on the slide as well. So my verdict for the P20 Pro, well, it's still a very good phone. Its performance is starting to slow and the lack of future updates makes it hard to recommend as a new phone, but if you've already got one and it still works very well, unless you're someone who wants the newest and best smartphone, you'll be happy with this phone for many more years to come. It still has a good camera and the battery still lasts pretty well, and this colour is still really nice. They made a big splash with this one, and loads of other companies are copying as well, so they definitely made the right move with that. So yeah, that's the P20 Pro 3 years later. Thank you for being a part of this blast from the past. If you like videos like this, please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you're notified when I post a new video, which I'm hoping to do at least once a week. So thank you for watching, see you next time, and stay safe.